Hi everyone, my name is Jason Perocho, and I'd like to welcome you to today's broadcast, How to Make Partners Your Strategic Advantage. Now, I'm fortunate enough to be joined with Barton Goldenberg, and before we get started, I'd like to remind you that please make your purchasing decisions based on technology available today, not technology that may or may not be available in the future. Now, introducing Barden. Barden is what I like to refer to as the godfather of CRM. He has written 3 books on this subject and is the founder and president of ISM. Now, he has also, in fact, been inducted into the CRM Hall of Fame. And Barton, congratulations. That is a tremendous honor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And I also know that you're working on a 4th book. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. The 4th book is on the Engage Customer Strategy, your roadmap for success in 2030. And as with all technologies, you kind of follow a moving ball. I started out the first book in 2003 on CRM automation, core concepts. The world moved into more real-time, and I wrote the 2nd book in 2008 on real-time CRM. 2013, I really started to think more about how do we integrate social media with CRM, and thus the definitive guide on social CRM. And the next kind of logical step for me is to integrate both CRM and social media into a more digital world, and I call it How Do You Engage, or the Engage Customer Strategy across multiple digital channels. So that's something I'm working on, and hopefully I'll talk a little bit about it during today's webcast.
Excellent. And I have to admit that I have the social CRM sitting on my desk today. It is absolutely a tremendous read and has taught me a lot about CRM and has really indoctrinated me into the Salesforce world.
Thank you very much.
But CRM, I know, is just not your only function. I know that you've spent a lot of time really diving into the channel problems. Can you talk to us a little about some of the customers that you've worked with in the past, trying to solve their channel needs?
Sure. I mean, all manufacturers, high-tech companies, telecom companies, and many others all face this challenge of how do I bring product to market. There is a very important role that the partner plays, and all manufacturers and telecom and other type of companies really understand this, the technology companies. So just take some examples. Take Armstrong Ceiling and Flooring. We all know about them. 80% of their products go through distributors or partners. Take ExxonMobil on the lubrication side. About 75 to 85% of their products, that's close to 85%, go through partners, what they call distributors. Take a company like Ferguson. They make piping and piping supplies. A large portion goes to distributors. So everybody's facing the same type of issue, and that is, how do I bring product to market? What is the role of the channel partner? Are they somebody that I can work with and can help sell? Are they a block for me to get to the end customer? There's all kinds of challenges that we face, but in many, many industries, they're a critical component to bringing product to market. And I'd like to share some of those stories as we talk today, Jason.
That's amazing. The more I talk to customers here about what they're doing inside the channels, the more I realize that how to be successful in a channel is really a black box for most of our customers. It's this nebulous area in which they really need help trying to identify how to best manage those partners. And when we look at it, we really have to coach them through the entire partner relationship management life cycle. So can you talk to us a little bit about how can you be successful managing everything from recruitment and onboarding all the way through the sales, service, and management of your partners?
So the simple answer to that, Jason, is with great difficulty, but I will be happy to. So the first task you want to think about, folks, is how do you recruit and onboard the actual partner or distributor? And that's not easy. There's a lot of choices. It's costly to find the right partners. It's costly to onboard them. So you want them to be successful. So doing your homework up front and recruiting with care, very, very important. There's lots of tricks to the trade. You know, who's in the market, who's done well, who's open for becoming a partner. There's all kinds of things you want to think about. But on the onboarding as well, you want to think about partners are not always the most technologically savvy companies. So what you want to think about is anything you're going to do with them, whether it's integrating a process of yours or creating a partner relationship management technology setup, you really want to think about how do I make this easy for the partner? Because they're not technological wizards. So you want to think about, you know, is there a process or technologies that can be implemented with that partner that are very, very easy and puts them at ease to be able to feel like they're a part of your family early on?
To take that a step further, I mean, partners have personal lives, obviously. And do you think the experience that they get in that B2C experience that they see from Amazon or Google influence what they expect from a PRM solution?
Yes and no. So yes, in the sense that the world has become increasingly both digital and now, right? So I want my answer now. I need the information now. So if you're a distributor, I want to know what your inventory is now. I want to know what where my sales report is now. I want to understand, 24/7, can I get this information? There's a whole bunch of things that they have expectation on. And in that regard, Amazon, you buy something, it's being shipped now. And so there's that similarity, yes. Here's the difference on B2B and B2C. B2C, you tend to have tremendous thousands, if not hundreds, thousands of distribution points. In B2B, you tend to have tens or hundreds, possibly 1,000 distribution points, but it's a smaller distribution quantity. Inside the B2B, you have a much more important function. So, for example, a distributor might take a large a bulk product, break it down into small quantities, and then refrigerate it and then deliver it and service the customer. And that's a very intricate process that is challenging to do. So you can't really apply the Amazon, I'm going to put the box in the book in the box and ship it out to you quickly. There are some differences, and I'll get into that in a minute. But
excellent.
So we have the recruiting task, and that's the onboarding. Let's just assume now we have them on board. Now we have to educate them. We have to educate them about who are we, what products do we have, what services are we offering, how do we support them. This is the whole area of the learning management system. LMS is one of the ways we look at it. And again, distributors not always the most sophisticated in terms of use of technology or knowing what is available. So anytime you can help them out with content recommendations or anything that will help them better understand your products, your services, when to offer them, how does your product differentiate itself from competition, this is again a very important component. So the educate component. Now you got to then think about managing the actual distribution channel, we'll call it. Because not all distributors are going to be outstandingly successful. And we go back to the classical 80-20 rule, where typically, and we find this consistently in companies around the world, 80% of the volume is going to go through 20% of the distributors or sales or whatever it may be. And here you have to be very careful in managing the partner, because if you think about it, where should you spend your time? Where should you spend your money? Well, you should spend your time and money as a manufacturer, as a vendor, on the distribution channel partners that are going to do best for you. Well, you have to know who they are, and you have to manage them accordingly. I remember in Pacific Life, the large insurance company, they were in the annuity business, and they wanted to go into the mutual fund business, and they had tens of thousands of financial advisors that they could go through, and the question was, which was the right partners to launch the new mutual funds with, and that really required an understanding of which partners were doing so well and not so well, and who were the right partners. But let's assume now we've recruited them, we're onboarded them, we've got them carefully educated, and they understand how to use our products and services. We're managing who's our best partners, and we're kind of adjusting accordingly. Now we're ready to do a couple of things that are critical in the partner channel. One is co-marketing. Or marketing or co-marketing. So it's very important, and partners always love this, is if you can help them generate leads, right? So that's the whole marketing side. How do you build and track and analyze email campaigns for them, for example? Or how do you create new leads at some type of an event that you might do with them? And the key concept is, if you can help them with automating the marketing function, the manufacturer or the vendor, they're just going to be very happy and very grateful to you. So anything you can do to help them do their job better would be greatly appreciated. If we co-market effectively, now our next job then is to go and co-sell with them. So naturally, they're going to sell out to their end users, ultimately your end users. But they may have their distributor sales reps, often known as DSRs or channel partner reps, and they're going to sell the product as well. But the question then is, if I'm a sales rep and I'm from the distributor side, and I go into a customer, let's say I'm Cisco, the food service company, and I go into a customer and I'm selling 10,000 food service products, and I'm Kraft Food Service and I sell mac and cheese. The question then becomes, is Cisco going to push the mac and cheese on this visit, or are they going to push one of the other 9,999 products? So one of the ways we co-sell with our distributors is you have your own sales reps that either travel with the distributor sales reps or go to the end customer and pull product through the distributors, but you need to co-sell, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. Let's assume we co-sell effectively. Now we have to service the distributor. And like anything in life, there's some high maintenance distributors and low maintenance distributors. And you have to adjust as to who's making the money for you, how much service is appropriate. A distributor will always have lots of questions about, is this product accurate? What's coming out? Is the price changing? What's new in the market? They're depending upon you to help them be successful with your product or service. And so servicing the customer is another core function of partner relationship management. And finally, we do the analysis or the kind of measuring. So what you really want to do is look at how effective has a partner been. There has to be metrics. So for example, there's a high-tech vendor that I work with that has a one-year partner relationship agreement. And so it says in 12 months, these are the metrics we expect from you. If you don't hit them, the technology company wants to be able to get out of that contract without having a long-term contract. Now, in this country, we can do that. For example, in other countries, Germany is an example, you enter long-term contracts. So if you're not getting along that well with the partner, you have to kind of figure out how to make that better. You can't just terminate them. And there aren't that many partners to hire, and people say, oh, they're a difficult vendor to work with, and so then the partner may not work with you. But measuring and analyzing the partner critical in better understanding when you go back out to recruit better or additional partners, what is it that you're looking for? What makes for a successful partner? So just to sum it up, the core functions in partner relationship management, we're going to recruit and onboard our partners. We're going to make sure that we educate them effectively about our products and services. We're going to make sure we manage our partners effectively and make sure we take the best care of our best partners. We're going to co-market and co-sell with our partners to help them identify leads and generate business, but also help us sell our product our way and successfully. And then we're going to take the time to service the customer, and ultimately we're going to analyze and measure how effective the partner's been so we recruit again.
Well, thank you very much for that. I mean, there was a tremendous overview of partner relationship management, and honestly, you just make it seem so easy. But a lot of our customers come to us and they ask us, wow, there's a lot of these challenges it takes to really work with partners to make them successful. What tips can you give me as an executive? What tips can we give as a sales rep? And then what can we do overall as a best practice with our PRM system? I know that's a very loaded question for you right off the bat. So let's just take that one by one and start with the main challenges that you see working with partners.
So the most important thing one can remember is most partners are not owned by the manufacturer or the vendor. So they're an independent organization, and their own goals come before your goals. Their desire to build a swimming pool at home is more important than your desire to earn lots of money. And they'll do what they need to do in order to build the swimming pool with or without your product. And so you have to remember that. Now, there's exclusive distributors, and then there's multi-line or non-exclusive distributors. The exclusive distributors are a little easier to handle because they are carrying only your product, and you have more say in kind of a true partnership and a collaboration. Multi-line or non-exclusive dealers, much more difficult. They may carry your product and even competitive products. So now you're competing for share of mind, where they're going to listen to you when you're trying to promote your product or service. So the first thing to remember is that they are not your employees. You can encourage them, but you can't always tell them what to do. And in that regard, you want to look at it almost, Jason, that they're often more reactive than proactive. They're going to react to what you, the manufacturer, the vendor's asking them to do. If they think it's going to help their bottom line, they may do it. If they don't feel it's going to help their bottom line, they may give you lip service and not do it as well. But they're going to be more of in a reactive mode. The proactive might be what they want to do as a company to drive their profitability, which may or may not be in total sync with what you're desiring that partner to do. And we have these channel disputes all the time where, the manufacturer wants to launch a product one way, and there's a time sensitivity, and yet the partner has another set of launches that they're doing, and so they conflict, and it doesn't always work out. But key point I want to make is that the business goals, their business goals come before your business goals, and what your job is as a manufacturer vendor is to harmonize and get them to collaborate and harmonize your goals and their goals. The other things that I think are important is the whole area of, they may or may not be willing to use your processes. So let's just take the sales side, sales pipeline management or market campaign management, whatever you may use and think is important. You may have a multi-step pipeline that you think is very important. It's proven true on how to sell your product. They may have their own sales pipeline management approach or process that doesn't agree with yours. And so now you're saying to them, listen, I appreciate that you use your sales pipeline for the 28 other products you sell, but I want you to use ours. And they're thinking, no, I use mine. Why don't you adjust yours to mine? And that's what happened with the Kraft Food Service and Cisco. Cisco was a partner that had a certain way of doing business, and Kraft Food said, hi, this is Kraft. Would like you to use our processes, our technologies to integrate and collaborate with us. And Cisco said, well, no, I don't like them as much as I like ours. Ours are better. Why don't you adjust? You create a portal, and we'll work off of, you'll work off of our portal rather than us working off of your portal. So, you have this classical channel conflict because either the partner is using their own sales processes and they don't want to use yours. There's another challenge there. They may not be proficient in sales pipeline management or in market campaigns. So you're going to say, we do things this way, and they're going to scratch their head and think, I've never done that before. You got to educate them. Or the other side of it is they may or may not have an existing technology. And that's very often the case. So I'm going to use Raymond James. It's a global financial services company. And they work through both, they have a few of their own financial advisors, but the vast majority of them are independent financial advisors, your local kind of financial advisor. And they clear through Raymond James and do their work. Raymond James put up a fantastic CRM system. I was behind it, so I know it very well. And they thought it was quite good, and they didn't spend as much attention to what the partners were looking for as they probably should have, but they felt that corporate headquarters was quite knowledgeable about how to sell the Raymond James services and products, and so they kind of created it, and then they went out to the market, to the partners, to these independent financial advisors. And long story short, some of the financial advisors said, well, we appreciate the effort, but we already have a very nice system that we use for our local clients. We've developed and we've customized it and configured it, and it's really good and it works for us. So thank you very much for the offer, but we're going to pass on it this time, Raymond James, and continue to use ours. And of course, Raymond James was astounded. Well, wait a minute, this is our system and you're our. So you have to look at, do they have technology in place? And if yes, are they willing to use yours and merge the two or change? And also there's the proficiency issue. Let's say they don't have anything in place, and now you provide them technology. Same question, haven't used this before. I wonder how I'm going to use it. So there's an educational process. So bottom line, remember, partners are almost always independent organizations. You can encourage, you can influence, and you have to, by the way. You can't tell necessarily how to do things, and you have to be cognizant of the fact that they have their own set of priorities. They have maybe their own processes. They may have their own technology. So as you enter into their world, you have to ask the question, how well do you fit, or how well do they fit with you?
Absolutely. And that almost seems a little bit scary to me if I want to start moving into that channel space. I mean, if I spent so much money investing in my CRM, my partners have their own CRMs out there, what tips can you give me as an executive in order to align best with my partners?
Absolutely. So good question. And it's an important question. And I think not enough companies, manufacturers, and vendors think about that. Because that alignment or that collaboration is critical to get your product to market, right? That's the idea of the distribution channel. So a couple of things. One is sharing best practices. The manufacturers typically have a big view of the marketplace, a big view of what has worked for them and competitors in terms of processes, whether it's sales pipeline management, national account management, or, I'll just stick to the sales side, the variety of different sales contact, account management. There's a variety of different things that may be of great importance to the actual channel partner or distributor. So for example, they may not know what's the best way to sell a product in a market, the distributor, and the manufacturer would say, hi, let me share best practices, what other manufacturers in your part of the world or other parts of the world are doing. Let me help you become successful. And I've seen that happen in lots and lots of companies where the manufacturer will suggest a process, will educate the particular distributor on the process, and that distributor then will use that process. They'll make more money for themselves and ultimately for the manufacturer, and they'll think, that manufacturer's nice people, I like working with them, I'll accept the next process they recommend, or I'll even accept that CRM software they want me to use called partner relationship management. So that's one way of looking at it. Another thing I think, and it's tied together quite closely, is sharing what I'd like to call gold standards and in the benchmarking sense. So for example, and Caterpillar is a great example of both of these. Caterpillar has independent dealers. It's really a big family. And Caterpillar, they talk about you buy the iron and you join the family, right? It's a big family. And so the example there is you might look at in sales pipeline management, what is the percentage you should have of leads in each stage of the pipeline funnel. What's the optimal best practice? What's the benchmark in the industry? And Caterpillar and others will work on these types of issues and guide their distributors and say, I see your funnel looks a little top heavy this month, or you got an awful lot down the bottom of the funnel, but you don't have enough leads up the top. And they'll work with them on these best practices and gold standards and metrics to help them optimize how they're selling the products, in this case of Caterpillar, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a couple of ones I want to talk about that are important. One is structured programs. I call them implementing structured programs. So the vendor has a lot that they can do to help make the distributor feel loved and help the distributor be successful. I'll give you some examples. So sales pipeline management training. We talk about sales pipeline in the CRM industry because we know about it and we're comfortable with it, but not every distributor uses sales pipeline management. And if you are going to use it, and I think it's a great tool to use, sometimes you just got to educate them. What does it mean you move an opportunity down the pipeline? How do you determine what percentages to attach to a particular pipeline stage, et cetera? So sales pipeline training. There's a lot to do with sales coaching, for example. We can talk about how does the manufacturer help the distributor sales rep effectively sell their product? And that's a coaching exercise. Now, yes, the distributor should be coaching their reps, but the manufacturers can also play a critical role to make sure that that distributor sales rep is effective in selling your product or service. Another couple ones we often see is you'll have what might be called circles of excellence, or the $1 Million Club, where you are rewarding the actual distributor and or their sales reps for outstanding sales or outstanding efforts. And that's another way of, it could be financial, it could be simply they look good in front of all the distributors of the company, but there's different ways that you can work with your rep to incentivize them through implementing this type of a structured program. The big one that everybody talks about is lead gen and tracking, or lead generation and tracking. What distributor doesn't want to have a warm or a qualified lead sent to them from a manufacturer they can follow up and then track? So that's another great one. Another structured program is trade promotion, or trade spend as it's often referred to. So a program whereby the distributor will co-promote with the particular vendor or the manufacturer, and they'll get dollars for co-promotion or trade spend. So these types of structured programs, I think they're particularly important, and many companies use them. A couple of other points that I'd like to mention. So one is the concept of co-investing with your distributor or co-investing with your partner. And I'll give you a couple of examples that I think are very important. So in the case of Autodesk, which is a large CAD/CAM company here out on the West Coast, they did something very interesting. They looked at their partner base and they found that many of the partners were kind of doing maintenance. They were not hunting, but rather farming and looking after customers, but not really aggressively going after new customers. And Autodesk wanted to move in that direction. Mm-hmm. So what Autodesk did is they decided to co-invest, if you will, in buying part or a large majority of the cost of a new sales rep. But it wasn't free of charge. The sales rep had to meet certain requirements. They had to be trained by Autodesk, or they had to have certain number of calls, new calls, and they'd get 4 times the amount of commission for a new customer they did the existing customer. And there were many other types of criteria they used, but that's a good example of they co-invested with their distributor, but it was with Autodesk thinking in mind. Mm-hmm. I've got many other examples of companies. Microsoft, another company that you know very well, they put in a marketing person in every one of their key distributors. Lots of companies are co-investing, and it's just a way of saying, hi, I'm with you all the way, but you have to co-invest with intelligence in mind. It's not free of charge. It's a win-win for both sides. Mm-hmm. So that's another one. And the last one I'd like to talk about is integrating both processes and technologies, and I've alluded to that. I've spent a large amount of my life thinking about how do you best integrate manufacture processes and technology with partner processes and technology. We talked about this a little earlier on, the inevitable conflict, how do you encourage them, etc. So I'd like to just share a couple of stories, and then you can take it for what you want. I think that if you can show, the manufacturer or vendor, mm-hmm. can show the partner that your process has proven itself to be valuable for many other distributors, that it works, that it's successful, that's a very important to kind of help them integrate your process into their way of doing business. Same thing with technology. If you can show that your partner relationship management will drive them, give them leads more easily. It will allow them to track the leads. They can use the partner relationship management to come back and look at trade spend and how they're doing. Or they can come back in and look at when is their shipment going to happen. That type of making their life easier is very, very important. I'll talk about it a little later on, but it's a critical success factor to collaborating effectively. I want to close with one process and technology together. And the company is ExxonMobil. It's a client of ours for many, many years. So it's an absolutely marvelous and wonderful company. Had the pleasure of working with them for more than 28 years. So about 5 years ago, we said, they're best in class for lubricants and fuels around the world. They're a number one leader. And we wanted to make sure, and they wanted to make sure, that they were ahead of the game, not just in the technology premium of their product, but in the use of technology with their partners. And roughly speaking, 85% of their sales go through distributors. Yep. So this becomes a very critical component. So how much is the distributor of ExxonMobil willing to listen to ExxonMobil's processes and technology, et cetera? So we created something called the Mobile SHC Club. It's that actual social media community. You raised my book up earlier on, and it was one of the core concepts in the book, and that is, how do we use social media? And in this case, it's a private community, an invitation only, a branded community, where ExxonMobil invites lubrication engineers in this particular case, and their distributors, and their equipment builders, and their sales reps to come together in a community and share thoughts and ideas. Well, think about it. If I am in a private community where I've invited people, and one of the rules is what you say in the community can be used to help us create better products or services. Mm-hmm. If I'm a clever ExxonMobil, I'm going to listen to what the partner says, the distributor says during the community. I'm going to listen to what the customers say, and I'm going to take note and really help the distributor be more successful. I'm going to help the sales rep sell more by ideas that are raised in the community. Now think of it from the distributor side. They're in a community, in this case ExxonMobil's Mobile SHC Club community. They're getting lots of ideas on problems that other distributors are facing with their customers that may be very similar to what this distributor is facing. So the distributor now gets answers to questions that they don't get elsewhere by sharing stories, all within legal antitrust and all that sort of stuff. And so they're happy. They listen to what customers say. They're learning about new products and services. If you are the ExxonMobil side, what you're doing is you're having very good conversations and learning from the distributors what are some of their challenges. You're learning from the customers, what's important to them. If they're from the customer side, you're getting answers from your peers. In this case, it's a global, multilingual community around the world. So the Russian could be talking to the Chinese to the Germans to the Mexicans to the Americans, and we could all have a big conversation. So here's a good example of a company, ExxonMobil, investing in a private branded community where distributors and customers and the Exxon sales reps and equipment builders are all together sharing ideas and thoughts, a tremendous opportunity to help build that collaboration between manufacturer, distributor, and ultimately even customer.
Mm-hmm. Well, excellent. I mean, that is some tremendous advice in order for me as an account executive or an executive here. But what if I'm a sales rep? How can I better enable my partners to sell? And what would just be that one top piece of advice you would give them?
If I only had one, mm-hmm. I think it would be take the time to sell with the actual partner. Too often a manufacturer vendor will basically deliver the product to the warehouse of the distributor or the partner with the understanding, maybe even the hope and expectation, that that partner knows their market very well and will sell out the product, and it's top of mind for the partner to sell out your product, and they're going to do an excellent job, and you can kind of go back to figuring out who's the next product I should be delivering and so forth. That's a really big mistake. We talk about whole distribution channel strategy, and what it says is the manufacturer drops off a distributor, but then you have to make sure the distributor sells to retailer and ultimately to end customer successfully. Mm-hmm. And what if the manufacturer delivers to the distributor and the distributor has a block? They don't know how to sell effectively down through the end customer. Well, the manufacturer doesn't take an order or doesn't get the sale. So one of the most important things that manufacturing vendors can understand is have your reps take the time to spend with the distributor sales reps to help sell. And I'll give you some examples of that. In the case of, I'm pretty sure it's Steelcase, the large manufacturer of furniture, top-end furniture. They have, I believe the figure is 600 distributors around the world, but they also have several hundred, I think it's 200 sales reps that actually co-sell with those distributor reps. And that's a classic in the industry. ExxonMobil does it, Armstrong does it, everybody. Kraft Food Service does it. You have reps that help the distributor reps be successful. And it's a wonderful experience. It's the time that you spend maybe traveling to a customer together. Could be going to a ball game or a dinner or whatever is important. It also can be that the sales rep from the manufacturer goes to the end customer with the permission of the distributor and helps promote the product, because who knows the manufactured product better than the actual sales rep? So the distributor reps are happy. They're learning. They're being helped to earn their own commission, right? So on the product, they're learning how to sell a product. That would, I think, would be the one, if I only had one piece of advice. I think, by the way, there may be a few others, but I don't know if we have the time to go into them.
Excellent. And there's one point that you keep bringing up over and over again. It's about the idea of forming a true partnership. We co-sell, we co-market, we co-service. We do this all together. So let's talk a little bit about the technologies that are out there that will allow you to be successful. And the one thing that you keep hitting on is that they have a CRM system, we have a CRM system. How do we create a PRM system that allows them to be successful?
Yeah. All good questions, and again, not easy answers. But let me take a stab at it. So let's go to some of the best integrated partner manufacturer companies. And Caterpillar, again, I've already talked. You buy the iron and you get the company. That's the slogan that they use. And that's in place for more than 100 years. They're distillers and distributors. It's the situation for steel case. Volvo Construction Equipment does the same thing. Armstrong Flooring does the same thing. These are companies that have had dozens, if not literally hundreds of years of experience working with their distributors. And I think those are the ones that you learn the best from. And so you look at kind of some of the best practices that will drive that type of behavior. So here's what I have learned along the way. It's when the partner perceives value from the manufacturer that they will then collaborate and openly want to coordinate activity. So think about it. If I am a partner and you say, hey, I got this wonderful new partner relationship management system, and it's going to allow us to collaborate more effectively, the first question I'm going to ask if I'm a distributor is, what am I going to get from it?
Exactly.
What's in it for me, right? So then I might come back and say, well, you're going to get leads coming through that, and it's going to be on the partner relationship management system. We're going to do all of our co-marketing campaigns through that as well to help you drive new leads. We're also going to allow you to look at your commission year to date. We're going to allow you to look at your trade spend year to date, or month to date, or week to date, whatever appropriate. We're going to let you look at inventory 24/7. We're going to be able to look at your shipments and whether that's there. We're going to look at whether your bills have been paid or not paid. Now, as a distributor, I'm starting to think, wait a minute. This manufacturer's serious. They're going to allow me to be more successful. And if I have to adopt their technology, I don't care. That's in my best interest to do so. And what happens often in these companies, it takes a couple of years to really get a true collaboration, partner relationship management, rocking and rolling, if you will. But it's during that period that you're showing the manufacturer that by adopting core processes that the manufacturer's recommended or built into their partner relationship management system, or have offered through the applications in the partner relationship management system, whether it is things like marketing programs or follow-up on lead tracking. There's all kinds of tools that we use. It's through that the partner begins to say, it is in my best interest, so I'm willing to work with you. And it may happen they work two systems initially, their own system and your system, but over time, if it works, and this is the case certainly for Caterpillar and Autodesk and Armstrong Flooring and all that, now it's the only system they use. And initially, there's always the debate, should the manufacturer charge the distributor for the PRM system? Should they give it away? There's all these types of debates, but what I know is, with 30 years of experience, that when you do collaborate effectively, that PRM system becomes the way the two of you work together successfully.
And would you say that in order to get somebody to successfully adopt your PRM system, you have to demonstrate business value, but not just demonstrate business value, you need to make it fast and easy for them to see that business value?
Absolutely. So again, classically, and I alluded to this earlier on, Jason, distributors are not necessarily the most technologically savvy component of the distribution channel. So ease, simplicity, deliverable result they can see quickly, that's very, very important to them. So the partner relationship management technology, just to use that as an example, that's very critical, that it is easy to set up, it's easy to use, it's intuitive to use, it's comprehensive, so it's not, they don't have to use 15 different PRM systems, but one. These are also very important.
So really centralizing all those tasks, whether it's marketing, selling, your training, and education and onboarding, they should all be under one house, would you say?
I think so. I mean, it's the optimal way to go. Again, I'm not going to take away the fact that there are challenges along the way, and that there are some distributors that simply aren't going to collaborate or cooperate. But over time, by showing that the manufacturer vendor adds value to the distributor will come to their own decision, and that it's in their best interest to collaborate effectively. And again, you go back to Caterpillar, the world's very best. They don't even call them dealers. They call distributors or partners. They call them dealers. It's a part of the Caterpillar family. It's just amazing if you look deep into how they do their work. It's an open book between the dealers and Caterpillar. And as I said, you buy the iron, but you join the family.
So there's one question that I always get from customers, and they say that my partners will not enter the information into my portal because they're very concerned about the integrity of that data. They're customers. They don't want to give all that data away to me, the vendor. What would you tell that type of partner, and why should they give that data in? Or how do you get them to give you that data? So
it's a great question, and I'd like to go back to something I wrote in 1986 called the 3X factor. And this is what I wrote, and it's as relevant today as it was then, and it's as relevant to manufacturers and vendors. I said, for every one piece of information you ask, in this case, let's just say the partner to give, the distributor, for every one you ask to give back to me, whether it's a sales forecast, whether it's shipments, whether it's, marketing programs. Every one I ask for you, if I don't give you, the distributor, back at least 3 valuable pieces of information, you're not likely to give me the one that I asked for. So let me be more specific. I might ask for, give me the customer name or whatever is important. And initially the distributor is saying, I don't like giving that's my family jewels. I'm not giving away that. But if I give you the name of the customer and you in turn allow me to better market to that customer, or you give me an incentive on a particular product that I know that customer is important, or you give me information about a promotion that is of meaningful importance to me or my sales force, if you're giving me 3 times back the value for the one that you ask me, I'm going to be okay with giving you one. Now, there's always a trust factor, so if you abuse the one, you're not getting the second one, right? But the key concept is, and typically in a partner relationship management, there's so many valuable things that the manufacturer can give back, whether I've mentioned, whether it's inventory, whether it's shipments, whether it's commissions, whether it's trade spend, whether it's leads. There's just a variety of things that we can do. And there's many, many 3Xs that are available, and you just got to basically cut the deal. Now, I will just make the observation, and distributors know this, that if you're not being terribly collaborative with the actual manufacturer, not willing to share information about end customers, there's lots of ways for the manufacturer to get those. And I'll give you the classic example. Kraft Food Service sells through Cisco. Cisco likes to think of all the restaurants and the hotels as their own customer. And Kraft Food is thinking, well, I appreciate that, but I need to know what's going on at the customer level. Kraft sells mac and cheese, but Cisco packages their own mac and cheese. So if you're a Cisco sales rep and you make more money on the Cisco Kraft mac and cheese than you do on the Kraft mac and cheese, you might be pushing Cisco more than Kraft. So Kraft, all of a sudden, your distributors become your competitor. How do you deal with that? And the way you deal with that is you create a social media community, a partner community, where you invite your customers, your end customers, the restaurants, the chefs, and the restaurant owners to join the Kraft community. And in the Kraft community, you talk about best practices in a restaurant, owning a restaurant. Or you talk about the best way to get tasty recipes from Kraft mac and cheese. And all of a sudden, the end customers come to you and your community, and you've opened up the relationship. So now if Cisco says, I don't want to give you the names of the customers, you say, that's okay. I've already got the customers. And then you can market directly to the customers and pull the mac and cheese through the distribution channel, such that when the Cisco rep comes in and says, I'd like to sell you Cisco mac and cheese, this customer says, I really like a Kraft mac and cheese. That's what I'd prefer.
Well, let me play devil's advocate with you for a little bit. If I'm the channel partner, I might be concerned about disintermediation. I mean, I see all these global brands going out there. They have large businesses, and they're reaching out directly to their customers. They're bypassing me in the channel. What do you tell a partner about the potential of disintermediation with their products?
So it's a great question. If we're talking B2C community, B2C, where you don't really have a heavy distribution component, disintermediation is easy. Think about what Apple did to music. Think about what Amazon did to books. Think about what Tesla's doing to car dealerships. You can continue with all these various, what Expedia and Hotwire and Priceline are doing to the travel agencies, et cetera, et cetera. That disintermediation is of grave concern to the manufacturers of these products and services. But when you get into the B2B It's a lot more challenging, and let me tell you why. So, for example, if you're ExxonMobil, you'd rather ship big, large containers of lubricants, barrels or even larger containers, to a particular location, and then have the distributor break that up into smaller quantities that fit the exact needs of the marketplace. Because ExxonMobil can't, ship out thousands of little containers around the country. That's just not their business. That's not who they are. A distributor can also refrigerate products. So, for example, if you let's just go back to Kraft. If I sold a particular cheese and it needed to be refrigerated, I'd have to set up a whole fleet of trucks to visit all the restaurants in town. Whereas if I ship the cheese once to the distributor has refrigeration units, their trucks are refrigerated, they make the local stops. That's value add that they're doing. So I could it's called bulk breaking. I could break up bulk, I could do refrigeration, I could do the servicing of the customer. And, let's just say I'm Nike, which is another good, let's stick to B2B. Ferguson, let's stick with, I don't necessarily want to have 10,000 calls from my retailers or my end customers, and their distributor plays a critical role in servicing first line of defense, and if it doesn't work, it might come back to the manufacturer. So in the B2B world, whether it's stocking or inventory or breaking bulk or refrigeration, there are things that the value add the distributor does is greatly appreciated by the manufacturer, and it's not in the best interest of the manufacturer to go set up a fleet of refrigerated trucks or to set up an inventory management where they break it down in a small quantity. It just isn't cost efficient for them. So in the B2B world, disintermediation is always a challenge, but I'll say it this way. In the B2B world, my humble observation, we go out 20 years, there'll still be an incredibly important role for partners and distributors, and the job of the manufacturer and vendor is to figure out how to create that collaboration, how to share processes, how to use partner relationship management to collaborate effectively and make it a true partnership moving forward.
Yep. And here at Salesforce, we have some great technology in order to allow that to happen. And I'd love to tell you a little bit about this new launch that we just had on May 31st at the Boston World Tour. And there we really introduced Sales Cloud PRM, which is this intelligent PRM app built on our world's #1 leading CRM software. And really, the insight that we got from this is that we have been doing this Salesforce automation for the better part of 18 years. We have a customer base of over 150,000 customers that have much been advised by you and other firms. And we've got a 34% market share. But one of the reasons we see that customers keep coming back to us is because we're able to package that technology. We packaged it up for your field sales reps in a Salesforce One mobile application. We've packaged it together for your sales managers with the Sales Wave analytics. And we've even automated that last mile of the sales process with a Salesforce CPQ. But after talking to you, after talking to a lot of channel advisors, we recognized we needed to move toward channel sales and really package up that technology to make channel sales companies successful. Now, can you just talk to me a little bit about how much revenue do you normally see come through the companies that you're working with in channel sales?
It depends on the industry, obviously, but in an overall sense, and you've got some figures yourselves, but the figures are accurate. It's between 30 and 50%, again, depending upon the industry, but on an average, it probably 40%, something like that. But if you go to the high-tech industry, you're pushing 75+%. If you go to certain parts of the manufacturing industry, you're going 80+%. If you go to telecommunications, you're going 75 and north. So the channel becomes the way they bring product to market. So it's not a choice. It's mandated that you effectively work with the partner well.
And I'll let you know that we haven't really let our partners out there floating alone trying to figure out how to do this partner relationship management, as you said. We've had our customers building these great custom experiences. We've got Aston Martin out there that has created a tremendous dealer management portal in which they could track their customers across dealerships. Planet Fitness is something that we've recently presented with at the Boston World Tour, who talked to us how they utilize a partner solution for their franchisees so they could do everything from site selection to ordering the products that they need, all the way through building a customer base and doing the co-marketing, as you've mentioned. And even Finn's financial services customers out there, such as Zurich of Australia, they are brokers and independent agents utilize a partner community to get them the leads and opportunities that they need to build their business in the local area. But when we looked across all these crazy different implementations, we noticed this common theme that you've mentioned, and it's PRM. And I'd love to just talk a minute and talk to you about this great new product called Sales Cloud PRM.
I'm very interested.
And one of the things that you keep mentioning over and over, fast and easy, fast and easy, fast and easy. Well, to make it fast and easy with this product, we're able to give the companies the ability to launch partner-specific workflows, as you mentioned, like lead distribution, deal registration, marketing development funds, all right out of the box, so that they can just click through without any program, without any configuration, to stand up these partner processes. No, not trying to obviously put consultants like you out of business, but we really want to ensure that they could get the processes and then come to experts like you to give them the advice on that channel management aspect that you said was so important.
Sure, absolutely.
The second part you said was all around like that branding, giving that like modern experience, and we're doing that by bringing in or CMS Kinect. And what CMS Kinect does, it allows our customers to reuse the same great images, blogs, video components that they have out on their .com site and bring it into the community to give their partners that branded and personalized experience.
That's incredibly important. I'll just mention that Caterpillar, Microsoft, hundreds of companies feel that's critically important. One brand that is, whether it's being promoted by the manufacturer, whether it's being promoted by the distributor, it's one consistent brand image across the distribution channel. Very critical.
And how important would you say is content inside of a partner community?
Content is critical because, and again, it depends on the industry you're in, but manufacturers you, the manufacturer, are the most knowledgeable about your product and service. The distributor is learning on a regular basis, and you're always a few steps ahead because you know what's coming down the pipeline, and then you're delivering to the distributor. The content capability that the manufacturers offers to the actual distributor, or even that the distributor offers to their customers, is critical. And so the ability to get information from the manufacturer that's relevant, that's up to date, that's timely, and bring it down into the partner relationship management component that the distributor is using so that their customers can see with the same thing that they see, absolutely critical. It's one consistent message. We talk about, again, whole distribution channel management.
And that's exactly why we really wanted to focus one of our new features on content. And we call it Einstein Content Recommendations, so that when a partner logs into your portal, they're automatically recommended files based on their partner profile. So we talk a lot about CRM, but there's the benefit of having a PRM system is that we have the profile on the partner. We could recommend that specific content to help them push deals forward and help them provide a better experience for that end customer.
Fantastic.
And then finally is the idea of the channel marketing automation. You mentioned how important it is to build a customer base. And what we want to do is give our partners the ability to go out there and co-market on your behalf, to build up that customer base, to enroll your customers on those one-to-one journeys to bring them into your ecosystem so that you're building their business as well as your business.
And again, no distributor would ever turn down, good co-marketing or good effort to bring leads to them. That's what they'll remember you for.
And since we're approaching the end of the conversation, I was wondering if you'd be able to leave our audience with one parting thought on PRM.
Folks, I would encourage you to take the time to learn from each and every partner that you're dealing with what will work and what won't work. Not all partners are created equal. Some are going to be better than others. You can't always look at the 20% that's not doing well. You really have to look at the 80% of the partners that are delivering the 80%. Take the time to learn what's important to them. Take the time to understand what processes and technology they're using. And then work collaboratively through the types of structured programs that I spoke about to bring in processes that are a win-win for you and them, to bring in the technology that creates that win-win. And then once you've got that up and running, take the time to co-sell, to work with the distributors. They don't know your product as well as you do. So take the time through your sales reps, through marketing, through executive visits, make that distributor successful. These would be some of the key thoughts I'd have, Jason.
Well, thank you very much, Barton. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. And thank you to all our loyal customers out there. It's with your constant feedback and your patronage that has allowed us to develop the world-class products that you've experienced today. Thank you, and have a great day.